Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Let me just make sure we are all good. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Hopefully everyone can see me okay. Yeah, just a little update for this morning. As usual, there's not many people in here today, and it is kind of early. So, but yeah, we'll get this underway anyway. And I can somehow hear me. I've got the, there we go. Okay, I'm sorted. All right, Federico, welcome. Dan, hello. It's very quiet. Mido is here. Okay, cool. We got a few people in here. So yeah, just a quick update on Bitcoin, and we'll go over whatever else we decide to go over today. So yeah, Bitcoin, we have had the rejection off of the daily level, which is, again, what we were expecting. We had the daily order block up here, or daily level. The last time we had a call within the cruise, so this was on Friday, we were talking about basically, I saw absolutely no reason to be long when we were coming up into this region. Okay, we had come above value area high, and for me to even get slightly bullish that we could have seen some more upside, for myself, we would have had to have held a range above the value area high, and to have just held within this area, it was natural that we were going to see resistance at the daily level. That is a significant level. That is what we were looking for. Ultimately, we had this nice kind of rounding off at the bottom, and it was at that point in which we were taking those long positions. But we came for a few targets. We hit the naked point of control. We came into the value area high, and then we finally hit the daily level. That is ultimately what we were looking for from the move up. For me to even, yeah, just be slightly bullish that this could have been a legit breakout was that we would have had to have held above the value area high itself. We did not. We had a pullback. We came back into the golden pocket, and we've seen a really nice move down. So short positions paying off really well. So that is exactly what we expected to happen last week. The move up was a short squeeze. We could see that very clearly, that it was a short squeeze. We assumed that it would not break, and we are now finding ourselves back down at the range POC. Now, I'm not particularly bullish here again. With a move like this where you do have a short squeeze, I think it does bring about quite a high probability of taking out the lows of the range again. So I would be looking down towards that 18,500, potentially even lower on this, unless we can start to see some kind of decent absorption around here and a little bit of a sign of strength. But so far we've just rolled over. We are grinding back down. I am looking for longs within this region. I haven't gone into a long position yet, because we're at VWAP as well at the moment. So we'll go into the lower time frames in a minute, but if we do reclaim VWAP and we can start to put in a little bit of an uptrend on the day, then there are a few scalps that we could potentially make throughout this afternoon session, for example. So at the moment, nothing too significant. Okay, so we've got, this is the range that we're trading. Okay, and we're continuing to trade this range. So you've rotated from the value area high, coming down, taking out the lows. We're coming up here, taking out the highs, coming into this daily level, failing to hold above the value area high, and coming back into the POC now. So this is a very key area of support here. Between this, we do have a naked daily point of control down here. We do have these order blocks down here, and we do have the daily level down here. So significant support, but still not really looking at anything. I don't think that we're at a level now where we can expect to break up like above the range, unless we are to just hold around this region for quite some time, to start to build some bullish divergences, to get all of those kind of things that you really want to see in order to get that next rise up. So a similar kind of range to what we saw down at these lows is what you'd want to see again if we are going to be looking at higher prices. Otherwise, it is just going to be another situation where we do something like this and we end up falling down eventually. So that's the range that we're in at the moment. If we go down onto the lower time frames, again, we'll keep this fairly simple, just a simple update for today. This is where I take my shorts. Okay, so we did have the short positions coming in around here. So actually we had a nice rejection off of the daily itself, but that was overnight. So for myself, not able to get in to that short straight away. When we were having our New York trading room, that was when price was kind of hanging around down these areas. And we were looking for moves back into the value area high and back into the golden pocket, ideally back into this kind of region here, to try and get some short positions again. But we did manage to get that golden pocket hit twice. So you've come into that 618 region. We came into that 30-minute order block up at the highs, and that was a decent opportunity in which to get short positions that have led to a pretty decent move down of, so far, around about 8%. An 8% move down, so that's pretty good. I've not yet taken profit on my short either, so I'm just holding for now. I held it all over the weekend. We're not in negative funding anymore, so that's gone. The negative funding is gone. We're back to 0.01% positive. That means if you're holding a short position, you're getting paid anyway. So holding that over the weekend, getting money from funding, getting money from profit, and continuing to hold that at the moment. Over the weekend, I guess not really very much happened. I did attempt one long yesterday afternoon, which was okay for a while. So we did have this, and I was looking at the possibility, because I was already short, I was looking at the possibility of this just having another rotation up towards the highs, potentially into here, before dropping. So basically I was taking that long position on the off chance that we did get a move up, and I could have been given an opportunity to compound that long higher. Now, we were never given that, so as soon as we took out those lows, stopped out, and the shorts just continued to make profit from that point. You can see here, very, very simple. You lose the support. What do? You come in and you back test, and then you drop again from this morning. Now, what we have so far on the day as well, so we'll go into the even lower time frames, is, let's go into the 15-minute chart. Let's go into the 5-minute chart. Let's go into the 5-minute, and we can add the VWAP. So we don't actually have any buying on the day. Okay, so we have just straight down. Since the daily open, we are straight down. So VWAP at the moment, okay, it had been acting as resistance. At this point, if we can start to break through this and we can hold here, then it does bring about some long opportunities back in towards the daily open. I think we've got a fairly high chance that we can take out the daily open itself and to put in some kind of high on the day. Okay, so if we can do something like that, then we could be looking at short positions down here, and then obviously we're going to be looking at the New York session once again as being the, well, ultimately when we are expecting the volatility, as we've had so often, is the New York session is what is going to give us the volume in order to get any kind of move. So we saw that repeatedly last week, that during the Asia session you move down, the London session tends to kind of come back up to where it started again, and then New York is what brings in the volume to really get a break either way. So I would not be surprised at all to find ourselves back in towards that daily open around the New York, around 2:30 p.m. UK, which is when the New York open is. But again, we'll just have to see how it goes, and not really any kind of trade here that I'm monitoring. We've got our daily point of control. We're above that. We'd have to be looking at, I would guess, price coming up into this kind of region up here at this point in order to take another trade. So we do have a little 5-minute OB here, and we do have imbalances on the chart. So if we can get a move up, that would also line up quite nicely with the standard deviations on the VWAP. So a move up to around about 20,750 for myself would give some short opportunities, and maybe if there's an SFP off of this 20,650 level as well. So yeah, at the moment, just not really very much here. We're just hanging around VWAP, and for that, there's not really a trade to be had. I wouldn't short the daily value area high. I wouldn't be looking for trades off of the point of control. It's all very, very narrow here. But if we can get a move up here, potentially for day trade, scalp trades off of this, then you got three opportunities basically for potential short positions to trade back into that NPO, well, into the daily point of control each time. All of this has been fine. So yeah, again, just chopping around so far today. we do have, so this again, if we can get a bit of a sign of strength going into the open, we'll also have a look at the SPX. If we can get any kind of move into that New York Open and we do find ourselves back inside previous day value area, then that would of course set us up for the 80% setup. So anyone in the crew, anyone who is, anyone who knows that setup that is there today. So we do have the daily open outside of previous day value area, at least on this chart. We'll check over on the on EXO in just a moment, but there is that if we can get a little bit of strength coming in. Lower time frames, I think that's kind of covered it. Not too much else here, so yeah, we're just gradually moving up at the moment. It feels way too early for me to do a stream. It's very quiet in here. Who else is in here anyway? Federico from South Africa, Delirium's in here, Mido, Liquid, Taubi, Exto, Wish is in here. Haven't seen you for a while. Welcome, welcome. Mido, we can talk about alts, but alts really at the moment haven't been doing very much. So I need to reload this. Yeah, Liquid's answered. We don't talk about alts because they suck, yeah. That pretty much covers that. That is why we are not talking so much about altcoins at the moment. From a TPO perspective, okay, what we have done, and again, this is what we were looking for, was we were looking to come down and fill the single prints. Now that did happen yesterday, and we've then taken out the lows again. If we can get above, so from a market profile perspective, and it lines up quite nicely, if we can get above those like previous day lows, then I do think that things start to look a lot better. I would still be looking for shorts throughout the day. Again, as I said, I am still holding that short position, which is an absolutely no threat at the moment. But yeah, for me, if we can get back above the previous day lows, if we can get back inside previous day value area, then things start to look an awful lot better. The profile on here, you've got a nice little double distribution of the day. So by that, is this making sense? Double distribution on the day yesterday. So if we can get back inside that region, it does give us a very, very high probability that we're going to just trade our way back through that and come back up to this value area high towards that 21,200. Where do you have the top of those? To around about 21,350 region. Again, nothing too significant. Certainly not looking at taking out the highs yet, but just a little bit more range bound behavior to start the week. Wouldn't be surprising at all if we can get that move up. Daily open being very key here because it's right in the middle of that second little distribution we have. It is the previous day point of control. That is going to be a very key level if we do get there. Dastan, what makes the 80-20 setup valid? So you want to be in, you don't want to be in any impulsive conditions. So for example, when we had the daily open that was outside of value area last Friday, was it Thursday, Friday, whatever day it was that we had the big breakout, you wouldn't necessarily be looking to trade that the following day because you've had a really impulsive move, a really quick move up. You want to be trading it when you've got these more range bound conditions, when the market's a bit calmer. Actually, after a weekend is kind of perfect because it's very rare that we're going to get any big impulsive moves after a weekend. So if you can get an 80% setup, an 80-20 setup on a Monday after a weekend that's been fairly low volume, then that's actually a pretty decent one to trade. So at this point you would say absolutely, like if we can get back inside previous day value area low, then yeah, it's there, it's kind of is valid for sure. What else? I'm a bit rusty. It's a Monday morning, so I've only just looked at the charts. So we're just gonna find stuff as we go along here. Support. I haven't even mentioned support. So we have come down, we have got that drop, we have filled the single prints, we have come into the time point of control. We do have the NPOC below us. Okay, so 20,100 is the daily naked point of control. I think at that point, that's where, again, I would be much more confident in getting into any long positions, because not only would we have filled the imbalances, but we would also have taken liquidity from the day where we did get that big breakout. So if we can take out the lows from that day, that would stop out basically anyone long from this region, and then you could get a decent reversal off of that. On the flip side to that, if this is, again, we had a short squeeze. If this is now a bit more of a, potentially, if this is a bit more of a bear trap with people thinking that this has been very similar to previous price action and we're going to go much lower again, then it is this region that would be defended. Okay, so this was the accumulation before you had that big markup in price, before you had that short squeeze. So if there are longs within this area, it's natural that that would be defended at this point. If there are shorts in this area, it's natural that we would get a bounce at this point, because anyone that was short here, and this is the thing, we were, on this day, there was a very brief period of time that we were looking at potential short positions, and they got very quickly invalidated. But if there are short positions still trapped within this region here, then it's natural that we would get a slight bounce as those short positions close out break even and they start to kind of look a lot better. But yeah, for me, it's just not a lot here really to take any larger trades off of. Even as scalps so far today, I think we're a little bit too early into the week. I think we just need to be patient, just let this kind of find its balance throughout the day. As I said, it's quite likely that we do come out up and test daily open at some point. It's also very likely that we come back in and fill these imbalances at some point. But other than that, not a huge amount to be trading at the moment this morning. Yo, Luke, what would you do if you had a profitable scalping strategy, but because of fees, always end up in a small loss? So with my scalping, I always look for that 0.5%. So unless I've got like a decent chance of getting 0.5%, I generally just wouldn't take the trade, which is why VWAP today, I haven't taken the trade. I haven't taken a trade today. This range is just nowhere near enough. So from coming into VWAP, from that point, we did also have, oh, I've just taken it off my chart, damn it. Where are we? That's the wrong one. But anyway, session volume profile. Okay, so we did come into the POC and the VWAP, but for me, like, no trade there. I'd only just got to the charts. It's a Monday morning. I'm probably not going to want to take a trade on a Monday morning until I get an idea of what's going on in the market. But secondly, look, just to get down to, I mean, yeah, you could get 0.5 off of that. It didn't work out, so that would have not actually, it wouldn't have worked for my own strategy. But I guess point of control back into value area low from the VWAP. You've got a little order block down there. Maybe it could have been a trade, but still, like, this range for today is just very, very, very low. Yeah, really nothing much to trade. Again, here you're at the value area high, but there's no way I'd trade that as a scalp short, because I would assume VWAP would hold us as support. The only thing you could potentially get from this is more of a scalp trade is from the reclaim of VWAP. If we can hold here for a while and we can just absorb, there could be a trade long that could be taken. But yeah, so far it's, again, like I say, very early in the week and we're just establishing some kind of range at the moment. Monday high, Monday low. And that, Jay, yeah, ES and BTC exactly the same. So we'll have a look at what the the futures are doing. It's identical, right? Absolutely identical. So there's your daily open on the ES. There's your VWAP. Here's your reclaim of VWAP. Same kind of value area. You look at those two charts and they are just, I mean, identical, right? So you go straight down on the open. So as futures open, straight down, same as Bitcoin. As the market opens, straight down. Actually, so futures opened here. So the daily open on the S&P futures is 2 hours before Bitcoin. So it does it at 11 p.m. for some reason. Just because that's when they open, they have that little like period where they do the counting up and whatever for the day. But it's very, very, yeah, very, very, very similar price action so far today. So this would be quite significant. So a move back up to here on the ES. We do also have, where did we gap down? Where are we on this? So 3899 was the close. 3899. Yeah, so realistically, I think we've got a pretty strong possibility of, well, I think it's very likely that we find ourselves, as the market opens today, the weekend price action will just be kind of negated and we'll end up back around that gap. So we've got a bit of a rise coming up here on the futures. I think that's very likely that we do get a move up on the S&P futures on the ES into the New York Open. So as SPX opens, we probably will end up around here. It happens so often, right? You see these little moves down over the Asia session as the market reopens, and then you find yourself just exactly back where it started. And that has happened a lot recently, with these gaps just being basically non-existent on the S&P. So we'll be aware of that. That is a move up here, and then we do have imbalances up here. If Bitcoin is going to follow, then yes, I think it's quite likely that we do take out the daily open, and we do find ourselves basically, we've got two imbalances on the chart, this region here and this region here. And again, short positions probably from that would be what you would expect to trade. And yeah, as Max has said, yeah, so Max Eve says you need a decent 0.3 to 0.5% move to make anything meaningful. I would agree. So if you are scalping, general rule of thumb, 0.5% move for myself. If you don't quite get it, at least you can scrape some profit. But yeah, 0.5% move is what I look for. I have no idea what Adam's blueprint is. So no. Luke, when the correlation is high, would you still take scalp SFP above local high on BTC even if ES doesn't have any liquidity nearby? No. Local high, do you mean this one? Honestly, I'm not looking to trade this. I don't think. I really don't think I'd be looking to trade that. I think if I was looking for a trade right now, if there was a move up, it would be the little 5-minute OB up here. That will be confluence with the upper standard deviation off of the VWAP here. So you can see how it's found support on the lower bands, and if we do get a move up to the higher bands, then I could look for short positions there. This one here, 20,650, nah, not for me, not a trade for me. What would be great is just a move up into here, and then you've got your VWAP and your daily point of control as confluence to basically one more move. So this kind of thing, up, down, up, is what I would like to see. And then that would take us into the New York Open later on. Ethereum's doing nothing. This is why, okay, so this is the serious reason why I'm not talking about altcoins, because look, they're all down. Like if Ethereum's down against BTC on the day, it doesn't look very interesting to me. It's below VWAP on the day. doesn't look very interesting to me. So again, short positions really. Ethereum has hit the POC. So Ethereum has hit that MPOC that Bitcoin hasn't. Maybe it is okay. Maybe it is okay. I'm just looking at this. I'm going to look at this a little bit more. So we'll look at Ethereum, and then maybe there could be... So on the plus side with alts, okay, we have had a move down. We've repaired the imbalances that we did have when it got a slight move up yesterday. Nothing significant. ETH/USD or ETH/USDT, we have come back into the daily naked point of control, which is what we were looking for Bitcoin to do. So this is that same POC. Okay, from the same day. So Ethereum has hit that, Bitcoin has not yet hit that. It would be a very realistic area to be looking for longs on Ethereum, for sure. If we take this off, if we take this off, and if we look at when we had our... I mean, do you take it from the pivot level, or do you take it from here? Let's just say you take it from here. A little bit more recent price action. You got some half decent confluence in there, okay? So we are in that golden pocket region. We do have the daily level below. Again, that same kind of daily level that we're looking at on Bitcoin. With ETH the other day, it was leading Bitcoin in the sense that with Ethereum, it did come back in, bounce into the golden pocket. And then it did the same thing again from this high up here down to here. It came back into here before Bitcoin did, and then we eventually got that move down on both. So I don't look at alts so much. I think Bitcoin's trading perfectly well. However, it is nice where Ethereum's come into, and every time I look at Ethereum when I think it's not doing very much, it kind of surprises me. So it's not so bad. If we do look at this as a whole range, because I think that's also important. Let's take this off, not let it get too messy. If we do look at this as a range, your POC's all the way up there. Okay, let's try this one. Yeah, volume's a little bit all over the place, so it's just big distributions up at the highs, which you don't really want to see. You don't really want to see that amount of volume up at these highs if you're wanting price to go up. Yeah, you got this daily. We'll move it to here. So yeah, I think it'd be nice if Bitcoin gets that other move down. Ethereum, yeah, we got the daily level there. It's already hit the MPOC. Bitcoin could hit the point of control. Ethereum could hit the daily level. That could give us something. You're going to have people talking about some kind of descending wedge here, which I don't think is valid. But trend line, that's not even a wedge, it's more of a channel, isn't it? You got some kind of mini channel going on after a bit of a triangle, right? Pattern traders, yay. Descending triangle, and then you just form a channel moving down. If we can get a break of that. Again, looking back into that blue zone, which would be more confluence for, there's your high, there's your low. If we come down here, you got your golden pocket back in this resistance. So these blue zones just basically show order blocks. Heisenberg, BTC has made a higher high on all time frames apart from the daily time frame. Significant or no? Not really. No, because it's just range trading. So we are certainly not in a trend. right now. We're certainly not looking at a higher high that's going to lead to a higher low, because every time that we've done that recently, it's just completely failed. And we can go over examples of that. Every single time recently that we've done this, it has failed and it's taken out the lows. So you had a range very, very similar. So let's say this was the move up that we had on Friday. Okay. We came back down into the POC of this range. So here's the little range. There was your point of control. We had that move down basically here, being where price is at right now. And you chop around for a little bit and then eventually it rolls over. So on here, you've made a higher high in comparison to what we had during the downtrend. This was a higher high, briefly made a higher low, failed to then get a trend out of that and then rolled over. With this range here, again, very, very similar. So you make a higher high. Here, what does price do? Comes back into the POC. There's your POC. So then today being basically this day. So this is where price is currently. So you had your deviation from the range, you fell back inside, you come back into the point of control, you chop around for a bit, and eventually you take out the lows. So that's 2 occasions previously that you've made a higher high. Whether or not it's on the daily level or any time frame, I don't really tend to think too much into that. But that's 2 occasions where you've done that. It's broken down, it's broken down. On this occasion, obviously things are speeding up a lot. And I don't necessarily think that we're going to break down to the extent that we have previously, but you do have to be aware that it does give a pretty high probability that we take out the lows. Everything else since then has been very similar, right? So that's why I wouldn't take this higher high as being anything significant at this stage. Now our PAC has just moved. Now as this happens, so often when you see this happen, so our point of control, naturally it was down here just a moment ago, so it was down at 20,300 for the range. We have just moved. I can just show you here the developing POC on this very candle. This is a 4-hour, but if we do go onto the lower time frames, is it still going to be the same? Have we just moved that POC over? We have. So at this point you would be looking for some movement away from that point of control. So the fact that our POC has moved into there, we do now have this is basically showing what is a naked POC down there. So that was never tested. We have moved away from that region. It's quite likely that price will repel away from this. So when you see that point of control move, you often get a move out of it. And obviously the point of control will move into price. So that's kind of obvious, right? If the point of control moves, the only place it can move to is the current price, because that's the only price that would have given enough volume for the point of control to move. So then you're always going to get a movement away from it. But it's quite often that you see a bit of volume come in when this POC does move. We've seen on previous occasions, okay, POC moves, you repel away from it briefly. Okay. So yeah, it's just here now, I guess. I don't know where it is on other time frames. Still a bit lower here on the USD pair, sorry. So on the inverse, we are still here. And again, we've come into this order block region. So I haven't actually checked this chart today, but we were looking at, this is the support that we were looking at during the trading room on Friday. DXY, still pushing. Yeah, nothing else. We'll have a look, anything that's moving on the alts. This AGLD seems to always be doing like massive moves. I always see it at the top, like either biggest winner or biggest loser on the day. ICP, alts aren't doing anything really. Yeah, not much going on. John, hi. In CVD divergence, lack of participants and absorption both indicate trend reversal, right? Yeah, so both are. With CVD, you use it as confluence. It's like any kind of oscillator. Even if you're using something like the RSI, you would use it to form a bias. You wouldn't necessarily use it to be like, I am taking that trade. As we've seen previously, we've had examples like even last week, right? We've seen examples here where we had really high bearish divergence as we had price coming up into that region, yet we broke above and took out the highs. So it is there to add as confluence, but certainly not like, oh, you've got divergence, therefore take a trade. It's not the way that I myself use it anyway. But yeah, they both signify similar things. Well, please, could you please have a look to the shark you posted in Discord? I'll have a look in Discord. If you tag me in the post, I'll have a look at that a little bit later on, okay? Why is this changed? What did I have on the chart that was different? I don't know. I can't remember. I'll have a very, very brief look at theta. I mean very, very brief look. Yeah, you just set that macro POC, isn't it? So it's the same thing we were looking at previously. So we looked at this in a stream last week, and I've not really moved. Like you could just as easily class this as accumulation or another distribution. You've taken out highs, you've taken out lows, you're sat right in the middle. There's really nothing. Yeah, this is the kind of thing we're seeing so many alts that are like this, and until we know the direction of the market as a whole, and for that I don't just mean Bitcoin, I mean everything. Until we know the bigger picture, macroeconomic kind of picture, you just don't know. It's just guesswork here. Yes, you could be buying if you like the project. We've gone through a long, maybe accumulation, but maybe it's a distribution, and maybe we are just looking at lower prices. That's the thing. It is identical. You're looking at just symmetry on either side. You've got deviations high, you've got deviations low, you've got tests high and low. So this is a range. You've tested it. You've tested the value area high many times. You've tested the value area low many times. There is just no edge to be had as a whole on this chart. You just do not know which way it's going to go. Your balance is right in the middle. It's very likely you just hang around there for a bit longer until we get an idea of what's going on in the bigger picture. Now, and I think I mean this for everything. First of all, or we'll move backwards. So altcoins, first of all, will only move up or be looking at any kind of reaccumulation if Bitcoin does the same. So if Bitcoin can break up out of the region that it's in at the moment, then you'll find that altcoins start to bring a bit more confidence back into them, and they can start to be traded again. At the moment, there's not really much to trade on the altcoins, but again, if Bitcoin can get that move up, then I do think we'll have a small run from a lot of the alts. But Bitcoin will only run if the macro is okay. And for the macro, you've got to be looking at the S&P 500. You've got to be looking at the big tech stocks. Now we're going into a really important week today, and I can share that again on screen. We'll just have a look at all the stuff that we've got coming up this week. So if I bring up here, then today we have 3-year inflation expectations being announced. So 11 a.m. That's likely going to bring in a bit of volatility in the market. You've got more CPI stuff on Wednesday, so we know what kind of effect that has, and we know that that's pretty major. Okay, you've got jobless claims, you've got all of that kind of thing, and we're going into earnings season. So we are going into earnings season at the end of this week. So from the 15th of this, I think we're going into like a month of earnings across all of the major companies. So all of their Q2 earnings are going to be reported from the end of this week onwards. Now, Bitcoin is not going to move up unless the macro is okay. So unless we start getting some good news, a little bit of relief from the equity markets, Bitcoin is not going to move up. And if Bitcoin doesn't move up, the altcoins aren't going to move up. So it's really that kind of ladder effect at the moment that you've got to be aware of what's going on in the macro. That's the most important thing. Then if you're aware of what's going on in the macro, then you can trade Bitcoin. And then if Bitcoin's doing okay, then the altcoins can start to do some stuff as well. But a lot of these things just aren't, they're not giving very much. Like Solana, okay, we got that short opportunity on Solana, but that's about the last thing that I can really remember from the charts. And this is confluence, okay? You have confluence at that region. We are in a bear market, so we are looking at that. We did come up into this. We had a daily order block, 4-hour order block, whatever it was. We had the golden pocket. We had the point of control of the range. We were looking for a move down. That's what we had, okay? And we can see there where we got the support below. Again, from a 4-hour order block is where we got the support in order to get that move up in the first place. DOT, we've had a couple of decent trades off of that. It's just trading the range again though here, so it's very similar with theta. Is you've had deviation below, deviation above, you come back into the point of control, you come back into the value area low, the low of the range, and it's that same thing going on here where everything's just kind of sat waiting around that POC at the moment. So yeah, I don't know. That's another reason why I'm not really trading alts at the moment, because they're just not massively reliable. You're getting the moves that you want to get out of Bitcoin and sometimes Ethereum. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap things up. So yeah, these morning updates are more meant as just this is my plan for the day, and then I update as we go through the day. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to mention. So just as a recap, I'm still short. I have been short from here. I closed out, obviously, of my longs here. There was absolutely no reason to be in a long position once we'd hit that daily. Still looking for lower, so if we can hit into the daily naked point of control, if we can come into that daily level, 20,170, 20,100 region, that would look pretty good. It also takes out the lows, which was from what we had just before we had that impulse. If we do start to reverse early, you could say we've had a low time frame change of market structure. Okay, so on the lower time frames, we have had that little change of market structure coming down here. The only potential scalp that I would look at from this would be, do we have enough here to be looking at? I guess we do. Okay, so if you want a trade setup that, first of all, you're now back below VWAP. Again, there's not really trades to be had here. I would look for short positions if price were to come up here, and maybe off of a small change of local market structure, you could, if we come in, that is slightly impulsive as a move up, I guess. Small 5-minute order block, you do come back into previous lows, you may get along off of that with an invalidation, a very tight invalidation, and then to take it up to there. But with VWAP, as resistance, with there still being targets lower, I just wouldn't trust that. The only thing that I think would make something like this higher probability, even coming down and just taking out these lows, so get into some kind of position around here. The only kind of way that I would want to get into that would be if you see on the S&P, again, there's a fairly decent chance that we do get a move up on here towards that at some point today, okay, because we're going to have a gap very close to price. And we do have a local change in market structure here. So yeah, maybe. You come back into this kind of region here on the S&P. If Bitcoin can come back into this region here, then you could look for a long that does take you up to around about 20,750. But it's not the highest probability, I wouldn't say. But it's there. It's a setup. It's one that could be traded. If you're needing a setup right now and you're needing something to trade off of, obviously no financial advice, but that is probably the kind of thing I'd be looking at. Order flow wise, we're not going to get any divergence if we do something like that. Like, you're just looking at bearish divergence again here. But you are getting short starting to be not, no, they're not being greedy here. Yeah, it's not great, but it's there. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for myself. I will be around in the chat. If there is anyone that's new to the channel, then please do go and check out tauruscrypto.com. Okay, so if you are here, say hello in the chat if this is the first time you've been watching as well. I think I saw someone earlier on that said this was their first time here and I didn't comment on it. Let me try and find it again. Did someone say something? I can't remember. Yes, Matt. Had you on TW for a while now. TW, Twitter, I guess. First stream, always thought you were American though. I am not. I am British, but I do a fine American accent. If you if you hear me ever on Jay Casper's channel, which I'm sure we'll be doing again very soon. No, I am not American. Yeah, anyway, if you are new here, please do go and check out tauruscrypto.com. You can join our free Discord community. You can also find out more about the Taurus crew. I run live trading sessions, live trading rooms, doing more stuff like this over there with a bit more detail and a bit more thought and a bit more care over in the crew. So if anyone is interested in those trading rooms, in the educational content that we have, then you can check out the Taurus crew. And we do also offer mentoring, so one-to-ones. So if anyone is interested in any one-to-one sessions with myself or any of the coaches, then you can click on these little sections here. So you got the home, you got the crew over here. Oh, there you go. You can see the mouse now. You got the crew. There's more information about the crew, and then you've got your one-to-ones, which are also on offer. So Garrett Fact says, don't do the accent ever again. Well, we shall see. Anyway, yeah, have a great day, everyone. I hope everyone had a great weekend as well. I'm going to wrap it up there because if anyone in America is waking up later on and wants to watch this as a random update, then I don't really want them going through like hours and hours of content just to get an idea of what I'm looking at. So, yeah, there's my update. Thank you. I will catch you guys in a bit. Cheers. Bye.